Yo, what up, guys? Me again. And I'm coming at you with some more unholy content, this time focused around gameplay, cooldown management, rotations, arena comps, the actual stuff that's going on in the game. Um, Last video was all about talents and builds and how to build your character, which is important, so I'll link to that below. But now, between these two videos, you should have a more all-encompassing set of information that you can use to perform as best as possible as Unholy this season. That's all I'm ever trying to do, is just give you the information you need to all the people you know who watch my stuff and care about what I say. So thank you for that. And here you go. I got more stuff to say to you. So pretty much what we're doing here is I had a Q session on Holy Hunter. So that's PHDK. But generally that's queued with maybe a Pally originally. We're queuing it with the Priest, which also starts with P, so let's call it PHDK. That's the comp. We played it around 2250 to 2300 MMR at the end, which is the MMR that a lot of phenomenal players are playing at. A lot of people with a lot of rank 1 titles we queued into, and we did pretty well. So I wanted to go through the gameplay and review it and show you, some things we could pick up on, some things that we did well, some things that we learned from the Q session, some mistakes that we made that we ended up fixing, or maybe not fixing, but at least attempting to do better in future games, how everybody plays and tries to improve its stuff. So I wanted to go through that, and I'm not going to spend too much time talking, but for an introduction here, a little setup. Just to rehash, I wanted to show you guys, the build that I am running to play this comp, because I know some people would ask. It is the coil/clawing build that I do talk about a lot in my Unholy DK guide, again linked below. This build is a Flark original. I don't see a lot of people running this exact setup, and it has had marvelous results for me this season in regular threes. I'll try and push solo shuffle eventually, but the queues are very, very, very long. But yeah, I've heard some people were able to try it out and get some good results with it as well. So I don't believe that it's just like meant for me or something. I think that you guys could have a lot of fun with this build. So this is the one that I'm running. Again, everything is going to be linked below. It's just focusing very heavily on, coil damage and clawing damage. The 10% overall, 20% to the buff, but that ends up being like 10% overall to death coil nerfs, do not affect this at all. I think it's totally a phenomenal build still. Just taking one ability and reducing it by a small margin is not going to stop what was an extremely powerful build from being extremely powerful. So, all right, so that's the build. Again, if you need help with gearing or anything like that, it's in the other video. So right now we need to get into the actual content. So let's go. Okay, so getting into the gameplay portion of things, of course, first we have to talk about how the comp is played. So this is Unholy DK BM Hunter Disc Priest is the variant I'm playing. You could play this with other healers, but I really like the disc because they bring fear, which brings me into the core power of the comp, which is your CC. It's all instant. All right, so you have stun trap from him, stun trap from you. You both have a silence, and the priest has fear. So you can do these goes pretty much off DR. You can do his stun into trap into fear, then your stun into trap into fear, and either go can also be ended with a silence if you happen to have kill and you want to follow it up with just a little bit more micro CC. And what's the biggest thing about all that CC? It's all instant, right? That's very difficult for them to peel. If you're doing good and you're positioned well and the priest can wander its way, he's got a lot of time to wander his way over to the trap for a fear, right? It's not like it's just got to be a bang bang sort of thing. That's a long trap that player is going to be in. So if your priest is positioned in a way that they can get that, you have all instant CC that's very difficult to peel. So a very, very high power of the comp. The other thing, of course, being you guys just both have tons of sustained damage that also is difficult to peel, right? Unholy damage is so consistent because all your globals matter. It can happen at a 30-yard range, and your resource generation is so fluid that you're never just starved to doing nothing generally. You're always pumping out those damage, especially when you get procs, because that's free. That's free increased damage that bursts wounds at a range, no resource cost, right? Wow. And BM is very similar, right? BM Hunter, 2 damage. You got a stackable Mortal Strike on top of this. So all of these things synergize to CC the healer with instant CC that's difficult to peel, and then do nauseating, endless, double mortal strike ranged damage to a target. Can they kite you? Not really. They have a BM Hunter and a ranged Unholy DK. Can they heal through it? Not really. It's double MS and the healer's going to be in a lot of CC, right? The biggest weakness to this comp is things that can, out-cleave you, right? Grind you down, like maybe DHDK or TSG. But with the recent changes, mages got buffed. Maybe Clothies will be a little bit more prominent with the DHs just got nerfed, right? Unholy got a little nerfed, but again, it's not much. So this comp may just perform even better after that set of hot fixes, right? You do very well into casters. It's very difficult to kite you. You can absolutely beat melee, as I'll show you right now. But, just to talk about, it's not a perfect comp. Every comp has weaknesses, so I just wanted to talk about those in case you were worried, like, oh my god, we lost to TSG. They just ran over my Hunter. What do I do? Well, you got to chains and grip and peel, but that doesn't make it easy. It's still a hard win. I will show you a TSG game in this video. Okay, so that's all the talk. Now I'm going to play through this, and I'm going to pause occasionally to show you maybe some critical points. But this is Ret, Demon Hunter, Arshaman, so an aforementioned melee cleave, right? Our kill target here is going to be Ret, no brainer. If you target Rets, the magical damage goes right through their plate, of course. They have some walls, but your damage keeps going, so when their walls drop, they are really, really far behind, and pressuring a Ret stops them from getting perfect play with their Hodge Blind, with their utility. It slows their pressure. They have to kite, right? It's really good to make a Ret run from you, especially since he can't really, because while Ret has range damage, Unholy and BM have even more. So we're going to go Ret. We're going to try and CC the Arshaman. We're going to try and play around Sync as much as possible. And let's take a look. So my opener here, I'm going to get my army out. Demount army, as I always say. Now Unholy Assault, Dark Transform, Limb. Probably shouldn't have the sound. And then APOC. You got to see it all, right? Army of the Dead, Unholy Assault, Dark Transform, Limb, APOC. And now all my damage is set up. I've got my 20% modifier, I've got my haste, I've got my transform to pet. I'm going to get more proc coils, and I'm just going to wait for that. So, right off the bat, get a little D&D down. I'm going to try and kill that Tide. You can see a Tide drop, and it's dead instantly. Beautiful. So that limits the Arshaman's healing quite a bit. He got a trap on the Sank. Now we have a ton of damage from the Ret. We went through Wall. Now we're going through Shield of Vengeance. There's a Death Coil proc. As soon as I come out of this cap, I'm going to burst it, and I did. Okay, now I get the Strang on the Shaman. Hopefully you guys saw that. And he gets his silence right here. That's what this icon is. That is also a healing reduction and a slow and a silence. And actually silencing Ret does limit a lot of the buttons they can press. So if you're wondering if that was a misclick from him, absolutely not. I silenced the Arshaman. He put his Sting on the Ret, and we're actually doing really well here. Now I'm going to get a Death Coil proc, and I'm going to spend that in a second. Grip Blind first.
Could go on this guy right now.
Got to stop with the sound there. Okay. Now we got a War Stomp out of the blind. He traps out of that, but here's a good point for us. So it's tough for BM Hunter. He has some great PvP talents that he's running right now. So it's tough for him to use Diamond Ice. But we talked about the idea of using it a lot more into various comps, because when Grip Blind is so readily available, you can actually Diamond Ice trap off of it, and then I won't break it instantly, right? It's not just about being like, oh, Zug Zug DK. Almost every button you press as a DK has some type of cleave. Even your Death Coil cleaves now. Isn't that crazy? Right? So not breaking a exact melee range trap is very difficult to do. So that's why people run Diamond Ice, right? It helps with that. But his PvP talents are very good. So we talked about it. Effectively, that is an interesting coaching point for us and for you. Are you breaking every trap? Try Diamond Ice. Is he getting plenty of traps by himself, and the blind trap is just a nice pseudo CC and maybe you don't have to worry about it too much? Then stay with the PvP talents he's running. Ryler Ult - Tychondrius is his character, so you can look up anything you want to know about him on Check PvP. Okay, so there's the blind on me. Here's going to be some Death Coil procs, of course. We're going to fire off those, and this could be Bubble. I don't remember, and that's Bubble. So yeah, you just saw as soon as those Death Coil procs happened, I made sure to have more than enough wounds on him with Festering Strike to keep the wound count high, which is different than I usually coach you guys on, but Doom Burst in the current meta is a totally different situation. So yeah, you keep those wounds high, then Burst with the double Death Coil proc, and it just gets Bubble right there. Now I switched to changing the DH. We have to play very defensive here because the ret can just full dam while he's bubbled. He's immune to everything. Not able to get the MD on that one simply because it was pointless, right? My hunter was taking a lot of damage and the ret had already kind of topped himself. At fast MD, like instant MD, is not really in the game right now. Okay, so that was a PvP talent or a PvE talent that was removed. You can't. I don't think you can get like 0.1 second MD or whatever it was anymore. So, just as to why, because that's a very good disc. It was a conscious decision to not just get it right off the bat. Okay, so these Death Coil procs are feeding in a ton of damage. You can see they got a little overlap there because of just a stun. So right now the R Shaman is stunned, you can see. And the trap is obviously coming, and the red is under siege. I'm not sure if he has Sank. I still have to update all my add-ons, and I'll make an add-on video coming up soon. Very excited for that. But like you guys, I'm having some add-on issues right now, as they are some UI bugs and all sorts of other stuff. But I'm not sure if he has Sank for this one, but I think the pressure is so high that it's going to be difficult for him to do anything other than self-stabilizing globals, although I guess Sank would be a better self-stabilizing global because that trap ends the game, or just gets the R-Shaman's Trinket. But anyway, that's Darkness and Wall and a huge overlap here. So right now, my Hunter Turtles, I was going to grip him out, but then you can see the grounding icon, so don't grip into that. So I just kind of sit there, and this is actually a good coaching point. So I was going to start walking out, and the second I saw grounding, I decided against it. But you saw what I did? I started Fester Striking and pooling in that Darkness, because Fester Strike doesn't really do any damage. It hits for like, I don't know, nothing. But it applies a bunch of wounds, and then you can pool those Death Coil procs. So right when he comes out of the Darkness, you've got everything ready. It's kind of like you're setting up, and that's what happens. We got a big Death Coil there, and then another big Death Coil there. You saw I had 6 wounds, and now they're all bursted, and now we get Shield of Vengeance again. Earthen Wall, they're running out of time. He's running out of health. He's going to probably drop here. We're going to look for the Link kill. You see this? Okay, we got the Bop as well, so that's all of the defensives out of him. I have Grip, Blind, Unholy Assault, APOC. I'm just waiting for the Bop to go down. Death Coil proc, that was the Unholy Assault for wounds. I stunned into precog. So I actually say, if we turned on the mute here, I was like, oh my god, I can't believe it. Unfortunately, my Hunter miskicked. And then there's 1 second left on precog, and I was like, I saw a window, and then I made a mistake. So in that situation, it wasn't like a miscommunication or anything. Right there, he miskicked. It happens sometimes. Now when you miskick in the game, you can get punished. We gave him precog. I stunned into it. It was a total mistake. If I wait a second longer there, I can still get the stun into silence, and we're in a totally different situation. But that was simply a mistake. But he scatters, and now I silence out of the scatter, which is very decent CC anyway. He traps the DH off of him to peel. Pretty much just improvising right now. We get a Grip Blind, and then Death Coil procs like crazy. Looks like he is not able to get the fear out of this one. But the damage is too high and we win. So the opener, really good. You saw we got almost everything we wanted. No overlaps of CC. We had Stun Trap Blind. We had Stun Trap Silence. We had enormous pressure. I was generating wounds at opportune moments, and then Coil proc burst them all off. Remember that Doom Burst is so impactful to your entire damage breakdown right now. Decent peels. I could have maybe kept Chains on the DH a little bit more, but it seemed like, honestly, he was getting away. I mean, we rotated defensives as well. I remember my priest saying something along the lines of Pain Sup is coming back up. We were fine, right? So he was talking about how, like, yeah, it wasn't that scary. We were still ahead. So I talked about that one glaring mistake, right, that I made, or maybe because giving precog is also a mistake. So that's a mistake that we made. So we could improve on that, and I did. So that's pretty much it, right? Though the rep pally pressure and that amazing opener, even though there was a few miscues at the end, ended up getting us far enough ahead that we were able to win against double melee, even while they were training our hunter, which I'm sure if you play this comp is going to be something that you're going to have to get used to, because double melee will hit your hunter a lot. Okay, next one. Okay, so now we're on to RMP. This is a very, very quick game. In fact, we just win in the opener, but I did not pick it to gloat. People die in the opener. I've done it. You've done it. They've done it now. This team actually beats us later. So it's not even, to gloat or anything. They beat us. The reason why is because we had a defensive idea in the beginning. We stuck with it, and it did really well to peel their opener. It was my safe So I chose IBF and the first stun. Instead of Trinket, you could choose Trinket or IBF to save, right? It gets you out of the stun. I chose IBF because it also walls damage. Then I grip the mage to the rogue and grip them together and blind. And then I stun the rogue's Trinket, and that completely thwarts their go. If you're curious, the way we lost the next time is he actually just cloaked the opener. And then the go was unpreventable, and then we didn't react well enough because it was a brutal opener for them, and they beat us. But here you go. So in this one, the one where it goes well for us, we look for the pullout. We do not get it. So my priest gets zapped, so it's 100% my save. There's Combust. You can see it instantaneously. Combust, cheap. So I IBF, and I'm going to grip the mage to the rogue, right? And now they're both blinded. So right now, neither of these guys can do anything, right? They pop Combustion. This is a lot of damage. The priest is running in for a fear, but neither of their players can do anything. So what is he going to do to finish off this go? You know, because they really want to get the pressure with their cooldowns. He's going to Trinket. Rogue, Trinkets. And then I, seeing this, stun the rogue, right? So as a result, this go is now probably diffused. Is my health bar going to stay at 100% for the rest of my life? No. But we're able now, my priest can probably get out of CC because I'm going to live long enough. This rogue cannot get out. He's in a 5-second fear, right? 5-second fear. I am in a 3. The rogue is in a 3-second asphyxiate. So we should be able to live this. And as a result, we get to turn the pressure on them. So then we kick fire. We overlap kick, but we still got the kick. So that's all that matters. And then we just start doing damage to this mage. They swap the rest of the damage over to the hunter, but because we lived that opener, the priest is now out of CC. You can see he get the pain sup on the hunter. And also we kicked fire, even though we did overlap. So the mage didn't get to do as much damage. I string the priest here, grip him back over, and we end up just winning. Because the cot got absorbed by an enormous amount of damage at that exact moment, and it was probably hard for them to tell. But then the mage fell over as a result of that. Like, he was like, oh crap, you know, I've caught, I could block. They do beat us in the next one, so not gloating or anything. But that was a good showcase of how to defend against RMP opener, right? You just have to have an idea. You have to stick with it. I bet you one of the things that makes people, you know, flustered when they're playing against really high opener comps is that everybody kind of like sits there and then they freeze and then everybody does everything at the same time, right? So the instant reaction, IBF, grip blind, stun his Trinket, and it was still scary. But then he comes out of CC, he's able to paints up the hunter swap, we kick fire on the mage, and then we have tons of pressure. If we didn't win in the opener there, Hunter has Trinket Turtle, Priest has Trinket swap, paints up and dome, and I still have Trinket, actually. I only used IBF, so I still have another one. I have Trinket Zone. Right? So was the game like had to be won in the opener? No, because we did good defensive play. We probably would have won this one anyway. So yeah, that's just an understanding of like, all you guys got to do is say who has the first save and then commit to it. As DK, and this is a great coaching point, you have 2 outs. So if it's your save and you get blinded or something, some other off CC, and your teammates are sitting there and they're getting opened on and Combust is out and they're waiting for you, just Trinket Zone and save them, right? They're waiting for you to do something because it was your save. You can't be like, oh, I can't IBF, that just Trinket. Now they kidney you later, Icebound Fortitude, right? You have that tool to say, I'm going to save this go, then I'll save that next go. You have to just be urgent. So cool stuff to learn from RMP. Okay, so now we have a longer one for sure. This one is TSG with an R Druid. This one's pretty cool because we were actually losing to them quite a bit the first 2 times they had our number. And then we found out something that we wanted to do and we never looked back. We were able to win every game. Again, this is mostly just going to go my Hunter because it's a melee cleave. They can really just do a lot of pressure on a Hunter. So what we originally had problems with is the DK was using the AMS Spell Warden PvP talent to AMS the traps of the R Druid, right? This is a cool play. It's known by a lot of people, and he was doing it very well. Every time Ryler or I were to stun the R Druid, he would immediately AMS the R Druid and prevent the incoming trap because trap is magical, AMS prevents magical, no trap. That's how it works, right? Very clever play, but we realize now that if the DK was trying to save AMS for those traps, that actually gives me a lot more damage. While you'd think AMS isn't that valuable against us because, you know, I'm a Death Knight and he's a Hunter with only physical and bleeds, preventing the application of wounds and staving off death coils for a little while is a very good rebound tool to somebody who's playing with an Ardruid, that if they can just survive that burst window, the Ardruid has so much throughput that they can live for a long while after. So losing that AMS, coupled with another decision we made for our priest to just spam purge during those windows, because again, if the DK is taking that much damage, they can't really counter pressure us. And then the priest is able to purge, and me and the hunter can use our personals, which allows him to clean off the Ardruid's hot, which is kind of like CCing the Ardruid, because he's just spending time reapplying globals, which doesn't do a lot of healing. So those two things in tandem end up getting a ton of pressure on this DK, and we start winning. So let's take a look at how we play this. Of course, I'm going to demount Army, Unholy Assault, Death Coil right off the bat because I got a proc. Put up my other setup globals, start death coiling again, and already the damage on this DK is going to be very high because I have my 6-stack wounds, necrotic wounds stacked up, and I still have death coil proc. So, oh my god, we one-shot him in the opener, and that is, as you would expect, right? His defensive. So now, every time we see him use AMS on himself, we go for the stun trap. Also, that was Trankentry, by the way. So, just an awesome opener from us, and we're able to stay ahead now, which means my priest right now is spam purging the DK. So this is going exactly the way we want it. He's using his defensives, pre-using defensive. So if you are playing with a priest, you know, one thing you can tell him, or one thing he should already know is, because obviously my priest already knew this, he's a phenomenal player, just throw down those defensives at high health to keep you going, right? Snowball pressure. Don't use Dome at 20% health. He used Dome at 70% health. That was awesome because now it prevents incoming damage and keeps your team high so you can keep the pressure going. This is not just a zug-zug play. Why would you ever Dome at 10%? It reduces incoming damage. There's not as much incoming damage to be done at 10% health, right? So when you're playing with a priest, snowball that pressure. Now I have a Death Coil proc. I'm going to fire that. Another one that's Rally. I'm going to send an APOC. Now another Death Coil proc. You can see I APOC so late because APOC itself doesn't mean anything more than just bursting wounds, right? So if you can burst wounds with Death Coil procs, just do it. And then I was able to APOC so late, burst a huge amount more, get that Rally. We've gotten so many healing cooldowns. Now he gets a Scatter Trap because the DK had to AMS himself. I silenced out of that. You can see a little spin silence there. And the DK is in so much trouble. My guy is spam purging. I get a grip blind. Everything is going right for us. Just really a phenomenal game. I chase him around the pillar. He's running for his life, but he comes in for the fear, the aforementioned fear that I talked about to end off the CC chain. And of course, he has to once again AMS himself. I trinket the Shockwave because we see blood in the water. But he has no AMS now, so the next trap is going to probably be fatal. We have unlimited in their scatter trap, of course. He might have to turtle here, but nope, we get the ultimate penance, and I'm able to stun off of that. The pressure is still so high. Honestly, props to them from living this because we have put them in CC for hours and done unhealable dam. But you can see how far behind it's putting them. We still have Paints up, we still have Swap, we still have Turtle, and he gets an amazing fear there out of nowhere. He's throwing out the big penance. Once again, that's AMS. I actually call it in chat AMS on himself. You can go for the trap. We've called that every time. It is just unhealable damage. Death Coil proc and win the game. Whew. Right, so we actually, again, we lost to this team twice going into this, but it shows, you know, sometimes you have to readjust your strat. Swapping against Ardruid is generally good, right? So when we were swapping against the Ardruid, it made sense to us. But in this case, the actual play was to brute force it, right, with purges instead of swaps, and forcing him to use his PvP talent defensively so we can then get the CC that we wanted, right? Really cool stuff there, I think, and you saw. The one thing you can take away from that is our defensive management from our priest and from us. Very good, high health, smart, not panicking, and our CC never overlapped. We had, you know, we got the stun traps, silence, fear, we got the stun, fear, trap, we got all of these different combinations of way to use our instant CC to win the game, even while the hunter is getting bludgeoned by TSG. So a good game from us, and we'll now move into the last one. Okay, so now we have the final game. If you've made it with me this far, thank you so much for watching. This is DHDK Prez. All three of these things do insane damage, including the healer, and this is pre-nerf Demon Hunter, right? This is on the Monday before the nerfs, so this is going to be really brutal for us, but we do find a way. The kill target once again is DK here. We have to get that CC on the Evoker. A big coaching point from this one is that silence goes through Nullifying Shroud. So I tend to silence toward the end of Nullifying when we have a lot of pressure, because it's unexpected CC on the Dragon. He's not expecting to get CC'd because he has a CC immunity on. So he gets silenced, and then the Nullifying falls off, and then we can CC out of that. So it kind of starts the CC chain when they're not expecting it, because it's giving us a ton of pressure. So I do think I end up doing that in this one, though if I don't, it's something you can do. So there we go. Kick bot. We start up with the same setup globals every time, and everybody just starts doing insane damage in the middle. So of course my priest is going to dome it. He's so great with his defensives, and it really helps us in a big way. So now I'm just kind of firing off coils to try and get that AMS off. This is darkness from them, and zone from them, and dome from us, and zone from us. So you can see right now this is just very difficult, but we live. This is because this is pre-nerf DH DK and a Prez, and you can see the damage meters right now. The Prez is even doing more damage than I am, because on a cleave go against all of our pets, and with their form of AoE pressure, it's just very difficult to even out pressure them in the opener, especially when he has Nullifying Shroud up and can do everything he wants for free, right? My priest gets grip blinded, but he did get that dome down, but their dragon can't be stopped. So you can see here that all the name of the game was living. If we live this, our pressure ramps up over time. Theirs, well, pre-nerf DH always does damage, but let's say theirs is better than ours right now, but ours gets better later. So that was everything for both teams, and he even darked on that. And then he gets the fear right out of the Nullifying, so that is awesome. And I did silence at the end of it, like I said. Now he gets a stun. I grip blind on that, a little bit of a miscommunication, but the game was panicked. Now he gets the trap, and he has to commune it. So while it was a little miscommunication, it also blinded the DH and the DK, stopping any pressure for a moment on them and pseudoed them, so we got the stun trap. So honestly, getting commune out of that, and the fact that we've already gotten dark, we're actually not in bad shape. That was also IBF from the DK, by the way. I used my AMS here to Death Strike to full, and I still have IBF. So now he throws out a little pain sup, but they're just swapping over to my Hunter. Good swap on the defensives from them, and the damage from them is just horrifying, right? But he gets a perfect grip. It's actually crazy how well my priest played this game, let's be real, because, again, he has to heal through DH, DK, and the Evoker pre-nerf DH. So props to him. Unbelievable gameplay from him. But yes, another good grip, and we're alive, and he might have to turtle here, but no, he gets the pain sub off, and now we swap the pressure as I promised we would. I have to get a few death strikes off. He still has swap. He's doing a great job keeping us alive, but he does have to throw off that swap. Now I get the pet stun low. I have silence coming out back soon, and I know it. The Nullifying is on him. I keep my death strikes going. He has grip blind before me because I can't do it on the Nullifying, so he has it first, but then I'm able to get a silence on the dragon. Maximum damage here, a triple root trap into triple blind from us, and that's going to almost finish it, but he gets that AMS off, so of course I need to go through this. We're scared because AMS prevents everything that I can possibly do, but I wait until after for the Unholy Assault like a good player. I get my DA, APOC there, Dark Transform, all of my damage is coming, all of his damage is coming. It's pretty much just do or die here. I get a Death Coil proc. With my tremendous coil clawing build, right? There's the asphyxiate on him because the Evoker is nullifying. I keep the damage going. I have AMS in one. I say I'm going to press it right when it comes up, and I do. That allows me to stay aggressive, and I finish it off right there. A brutal game, but you can see there's a lot of good stuff from us. The opener was absurd. We used on it. So did they. The pressure continued, but we kept rotating. AMS. I held IBF. I was able to use that later in a stun. Then he held life grip and swap. He was able to use that for saves. We had a triple root into triple blind. That prevents their pressure and enables us to have pressure. We got bludgeoned in that opener, but we stayed perfectly calm, and we were able to use defensives over the course. Imagine getting hit. All of your players are down to 20%. It seems like you would overlap a few things, but I still had IBF, AMS coming out of that. He had Trinket swap. My Hunter had Turtle, right? Just that pre-use from Cub, and honestly, he played phenomenally the entire time. And knowing that, yeah, okay, maybe the Dragon is out damaging me in this opener, but we are going to have the pressure later. And that is exactly what happened, as you saw the DK get spiked from 100% health into death. And that one is the grand finale I wanted to end with you guys. I hope anything I said resonates with you and there's some things you learned about rotation, maybe defensives, maybe just how to call a kill target, or how the comp looks when we get some good CC chains going, and we did have some great ones. Or how really, really good Priest and Hunter play look, because my teammates are masters at what they do. Yeah, if any of that helped, leave a comment. If there's anything more I could do with this type of video, just also leave a comment and tell me what it is, and I will do it. You don't even have to be mad. Like, if there's anything you want me to do in the next one, just tell me, and then I will do that thing. So, thank you for watching, and peace.